In a studio that's in a basement comes the epic story of how two friends changed the future of the movie podcast game forever. The reviews are in. Boys Life magazine gives the High Sci podcast 4.5 acorns. The Daily Bugle says, these guys are super legit. And Pope Francis declares the podcast as life-affirming. From the kid who tried to get smart with David Spade and got fucking old.
You're still out. You're still bad.
And the guy who can name all four Baldwin brothers.
Alec, William, Daniel, and the baby boy, Stephen.
Live from the studio of his parents' basement, the Have You Seen It podcast.
Welcome back to the Have You Seen It podcast. My name is Mason Knight, and sitting across from me is the one, the only, Cash Kraus. How you doing?
Cash Kraus.
Cash Kraus.
And that is my middle initial, is A.
Is A.
So is Cash Kraus.
I did know that. Yes.
I know you know it.
Well, hey, you know.
You bring it up all the time.
I do.
Weirdly enough, it's a weird thing.
It's weird,
to bring
actually.
up
Yeah.
constantly,
And, you know, in hindsight, it's probably not the best thing.
Yeah, I know what my name is. So you bringing it up, it's just, I don't need to hear it.
Right.
But exciting day.
It is a very
groundbreaking
exciting
day for us.
And dude, yeah.
Today is our first ever Foreign Film Friday where we are reviewing a South Korean film.
Yes, we are.
And man, did we fucking start it off right.
Dude, we started it off on
maybe
the highest of high notes.
Yeah, maybe we shouldn't have started it off so high because
now maybe
it's only
everything
downhill.
after this is going to be disappointment.
Yes. But we are reviewing the 2010 South Korean action thriller. I would also say it's a horror film.
A horror film as well.
Directed by Kim Ji-woon. I Saw the Devil.
Yeah.
With a name like that, it's
bound to be
probably
good.
Not going to be a family-friendly film.
No, probably not. You're not going to take your children to go see this sort of movie.
Absolutely not. But it stars Lee Byung-hun, who is, after seeing this, he's one of my favorite fucking action stars. I mean, I've actually seen him in a lot of American stuff, too. He was in Red 2, that movie with Bruce Willis. But, man, he's phenomenal. He's an action star.
He's an action star.
He's an action star.
Yep.
I talked about it a little bit when we were for another reaction we're doing, but this guy is an action star that looks like he could kick your ass.
Yep. And we just released our trailer reaction for this just a couple weeks ago. And I remember that, like, watching the trailer with you, and we were like, dude, we got to review this film. Like, how do you watch that trailer and not want to review it?
He's awesome, man. He's fucking, and his choreography and his skill of obviously fighting, he's a fucking badass.
Yeah, he's a phenom.
He's a guy who makes me think he was like a badass first, actor second. Like, they just got him in, and like, this guy, he's like Jet Li. I always felt Jet Li could just fucking destroy me.
And like a movie like this, especially when it's so gritty and gory, you can really get B-list actors who are really good at stunt work. But what's awesome about him is he is a really amazing actor. There were some super emotional scenes throughout this film sprinkled in, and I bought every moment. I mean, even like the tear falling from his eye, I'm just like, wow, the way he's able to control his emotions as an actor is just phenomenal.
He's great. But probably the greatest piece of this film is the villain, played by Choi Min-sing, who is just fantastic. I don't even know anywhere to explain. He's such a creep in this film, but he's somehow a creep, but just the coolest guy ever. He's got so much swagger when he does everything, with like him constantly combing the hair back and him thinking like he's untouchable constantly.
Oh, he thinks he's the man, and no one ever.
He thinks he's a god.
Yeah, tries to belittle him.
But he's great. I don't know. Did you ever see Lucy, the film with Scarlett Johansson, directed by Luc Besson, where she gets super smart? It wasn't very good.
No, I didn't see that
But
one.
he plays the bad guy in that, and he fucking carries that film. He's the only good part, I thought, of that film. Yeah. But he's the bad guy in it, so he's great. He's also in Old Boy, which is probably the most well-known South Korean film here in the States. But he's a well-known Korean actor. But, man, he's fucking fantastic as the bad guy in this.
He is.
He's just fucking, he's creepy but cool.
Yeah.
Cool but creepy. He's
super creepy. I mean, this guy is a nut job. And just like throughout this movie, just when you think it couldn't get any crazier or crazier, and it does. And I'm just like, it gets to a one point, and this is, this might be a little bit of a spoiler, but we'll title this a spoiler. But it even gets to a one point where cannibalism is involved in a very significant way. And dude, gut wrenching too. Just the way that guy's eating. Just
my
chopping
God.
it up.
Well,
And
the
he
way
goes,
he
"Once
cooked it,
you
was he eating
taste-"
it raw?
Yeah, eating it raw essentially. And he goes, once you have a taste of this, you never want to go back.
Yeah. I'll just tell you my review. This film, I could see it's obviously not for everyone,
No,
and
it is not.
I could see some faults in it too. But I just fucking love this film.
Yeah, despite its faults.
It's so gory and it's so realistic, but it never gets into like torture porn area
Nope.
where they're doing it just to gross you out. It's necessary, but it is. The murders are so fucking realistic that I feel like they probably had done some research into what a real, because that first opening scene, when right at the start where it sets, and it's such an important scene because they had to set the tone immediately, and they had to make you hate this guy immediately.
And you do.
Yes, but
In
you
every
do
way.
because of how gruesome and how long and prolonged the first kill is.
Well, and
they knew they had to set that bar so high immediately. Yep. It's so smart.
When he's a sadist too, he enjoys.
Well, he's a serial killer.
Well, he's a serial killer, so obviously. But I mean, a sadist in or a serial killer in the worst way. There are serial killers who go out and just literally murder people right away. They strangle them to death, and then they do what they will with them, which is horrific and horrible. But this guy was a sadist because he enjoyed watching people be in pain.
Oh yeah, well he's a process killer.
Yeah.
He enjoys the process.
The process of it. Yeah.
Yeah, he enjoys taking his time. But man, yeah, that first opening scene when he's hitting her over the head with the pipe.
Oh my God, and just so many times.
And you
too.
can see her just looking up at him. And to play this role, man, it takes something to play a guy like that.
It does.
It's
you really have to make sure before taking a role like this that you are
in the right mindset.
Yeah, psychologically okay.
Yes.
To take a role like this because it's heavy. It is heavy, man.
It's a fucking dark.
It is.
And yeah, and you explained how you tried to your girlfriend watched it for what, 2 minutes?
Maybe 10 minutes. She goes, I can't do this. I'm done. And like she
It is an
normally can
exhausting
sit through
film.
a lot of
Yeah.
it, but no, dude. She was done with this.
Well, this is it's just this film just hits all the mark. I love the tone of it too. It's real dark and gritty and how it's shot. It almost feels like a David Fincher-esque film. And the editing is so quick and fast too, especially when he's like going around trying to figure out who's the killer first, and he's like going through all the pedophiles in the town.
Yep.
It's just part of my biggest complaint is it's the energy level. It starts at a 10.
It does.
And it damn near rides that level the entire time, except for probably the last 30 minutes of the third act. I feel like it couldn't keep that energy going. And how could it?
I don't know because it's like
because it starts off and it doesn't let off the gas.
Yeah.
People are getting murdered every 5 minutes.
I know, man. And the choreography, like behind the fight scenes, and not just the fight scenes, but one in specific, that taxi scene in the car, the choreography and the squibs, man, they look phenomenal.
God. And the actors when they're getting stabbed.
Yeah.
And how the guy in the back, how he's like still trying, and he's just barely there.
Even though that blood's just squirting out of his neck.
And the bad luck of that taxi driver. It's such a like almost poetic scene where the guy's just so happy. He's like, I'm the luckiest guy. He's like, you're the luckiest guy. I'm never out here.
Well, he deserves
the
to get
guy in the
murdered.
back was gonna rob him.
Yep.
He was gonna get murdered. But they just happened to pick up a bigger fish.
Mm-hmm.
So
who is a little bit more keen and more professional in his kills.
absolutely.
And it was good too because they prefaced it really fast, really quickly. When you look down and he realizes, oh, this taxi driver is not the guy on this picture.
Yeah.
What's going on here? He
Yeah.
puts 2 and 2 together and he sticks that knife. The first stab, man, when it gets real, because he's all happy-go-lucky.
Oh, and it just
and then he
sprays.
looks at him.
Yeah.
He looks at him and then he looks at him and then he finally gets serious, like his face, because he realizes, oh shit, this guy's just like us. And then boom, he stabs him in the neck, and it just looked awesome. And the fight scene with the car, and again, that was one of my favorite things about this film was the editing. I thought was really, really good.
Oh yeah, and it was such a cool scene because like he immediately knew, like he could almost sense it. Yeah. Like this is my thought the entire time. Thinking of this is like he's like a fox. Mm-hmm. You know, everything is prey. He's super cunning and like he knows another fox when he sees him, and he knows, but he's super smart and super quick, and just like the ultimate killing machine.
Yeah. And the dialogue too. I mean, we haven't talked about the screenplay, but the dialogue was awesome in this too, especially for a revenge type of film. But when he's in the taxi and he goes, you said it was my lucky day.
Yeah.
He goes, well, this is the most unlucky day you'll ever have in your life.
Yeah.
And that's when he
fucking
really knows.
goes off. Yeah, he just goes. And I was worried the car was going to crash. He was going to
As
fly
did
out the
I.
window.
But
he's driving He's driving that taxi through the entire movie. There he throws the guys in the back. He's just cruising. It's a wild weekend for him.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Because he's just murdering people, thinking it's a regular time. Then he gets the super cop. And like you said about the dialogue, is when with these films, you usually get one or the other. Really good revenge and action, and then like mediocre dialogue. But this does not,
like a lot of one-liners that don't hit right.
Yeah,
where you're just like, it's too campy.
Yeah, exactly. But this does not, and it's a very different revenge film with him constantly getting the guy and then letting him go. It's crazy. And then the cops trying to get to the guy before this cop gets to him to protect him. Because it's and the goon squad of those cops, dude. They're just one step behind constantly. It's not great police work.
The agent in this, Kim Soy-Hyun, but anyway, the lead. It's one of those things too where, in some ways, metaphorically, he is also a monster.
Well, Lee Byung-hun is the lead.
Is the actor's name? Yeah, but
Kim Sono. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Kim. But in a lot of ways, like, he is also a monster.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Because he wanted to torture this man over and over, and in a lot of ways was very irresponsible, and it cost him. It cost him at the end.
Well, it cost other people
it cost
dearly,
a lot of people
too.
Their lives, and some very innocent lives were taken because of that.
That's the whole thing exactly. It's like and how good the writing is, where it's like at the very, obviously there's a good guy and a bad guy, but this guy, the lines begin to blur when this guy is willing to hurt other people just to hurt this guy. What makes him any different?
That's the question. That's the philosophical question, I suppose.
And it's not like it's a thing where, that would be, I think if it never showed the repercussions of that, I think it'd be stupid. But at the end, it shows him break down, and it all kind of falls in on him. Yeah. When it finally the weight of what he's done, but he can't do it. I mean, he can't stop. It's like fucking Captain Ahab, and he can't stop doing it because. The guy kills his wife, and then and then it was like the Seven, the John Doe thing, when he's like, oh yeah, one more thing. Your wife? Pregnant. Bad thing, bud. Bad thing to tell this guy, too.
Yeah.
Because you have no idea what kind of cop you're dealing with.
And I got to say, too, the prosthetics in that opening scene where he does decapitate her and chops up her body.
The head in the river.
It looked good.
It looked real.
It looked, oh my God.
That's
one of the most impressive
How did they
things.
submerge a prosthetic in water without
I don't know. Without it
bloating
looking like a plastic head.
Kind of freaks me out.
Yeah, a little bit. I would say so.
Yeah, but the makeup, man, this thing should have been nominated for an Oscar.
I totally agree with that.
The blood, at one point when he's beating the cannibal, the big fat guy, he's beating him with the pipe, and he's just like randomly hitting him. But every time he hits him, a little squirt of blood. Yep. Like the squib guy on this thing must have been fucking fantastic.
He was great.
And like the blood when he cuts someone, and then like a blood will squirt out, but it won't squirt out until he's like pressure is applied when they're fighting or something. It's very well done.
It is. It was so impressive.
So much to the point where it's like, again, it makes you think they watched like a ton of snuff films to get it so
so
real.
Perfect. Yeah, so perfect. Yeah, but that I do want to go back to the head in the river because it's such a it was such a. And I hate to say this because it's mortifying to find a head in the river, but it was a beautiful way that they did it and a really good reveal.
Oh,
because they're like, what is that? And they poke it.
But that cop freaking out wasn't very professional.
No, it was not. No. And then like
but of course,
millions of media people run over trying to get a shot. And then he walks up the hill and he trips over and the head rolls out right in front of the dad. And I'm like, oh,
the dad, the husband.
The husband.
The dad's friends. Yeah, all the guys are there.
But that head reveal was good, and it was slow too. It really built the tension because the hair was moving away, and then you see the face,
and that just
oh my God,
added on to that opening scene of them setting this guy is the worst guy ever, and that's what drives the 2-hour-long film is that opening murder of him. And it's brutal, man, with him beating her and then dragging her through the snow. And then her telling him that she's pregnant, whispering into his ear, and then him decapitating her with a fucking makeshift homemade DIY guillotine that this guy has. But I like that writing, too, of the dialogue where it's like, it almost makes you seem like this isn't just one guy murdering people. There's something bigger behind this guy. Because at one point, because remember he goes, and it's like this network of serial killers, because he goes when he knows he's being hunted, he goes to the guy's house, and they kind of hint at, like, there's some kind of secret thing. They have some history, because at one point he says, like, remember in the old days, we were trying to start a militia to overthrow the government.
I know. Yeah.
Like, so it's like,
was that guy.
Exactly. So it's like, who are these fucking guys? And this guy's also a deranged serial killer. That fat guy's killed tons of people.
He's
eating
eats them.
And then he's got this Coraline wife, Skeletor,
who's apparently just cool with this.
She's
it's
scary.
Like a weird...
It's so perfect, man. It's perfect casting because they all look like. That's my favorite scene is when they go to the house. It's like an Addams Family / Sawyer family from Texas Chainsaw 2. To where it's this creepy fucking like mansion.
Well, and they
have a kill room, and they have.
Yep.
So it's like, who's providing all these things to these people?
But they answered all those questions really well too, because that was the first question I had.
Yeah.
How do they have this house? And then it's revealed later on when he's pulling out the prey, the girl, that he's got chained up and stuff. He goes, "Oh, you should have let me in the house." Yada yada yada.
Yeah.
So I wonder if they had that house for a long time, because you see all the body parts in the refrigerator and the freezer, and you're like, damn, how long have these people been?
And how are they getting away with all of it?
Oh, dude, is there any police officers searching for any murders or anything in this place?
And that's what I think that's what I love about this film is it makes you feel like there's so much more like beneath everything. Like it makes you feel like these guys are part of this, maybe like a rich family or a cult or something that's allowing people really high up, because they lived in like a mansion, remember? They lived in a huge house.
It was a nice house. Big house.
And remember the guy goes, at one point he goes, "Stay in any room, we have so many and they're all empty." So it makes you think that maybe there's like this big fucking large family and now there's only like 3 of them left. But I love things like that.
Yeah.
Where it gives you just enough detail to where you want to know more. And to know that there's kind of this network of serial killers and they're all kind of working together. And how they are not even surprised that the cop is hunting him. Remember, he's like, "Yeah, I figured this would happen at some point." And how many people have they killed too? So I love things like that.
I love the dinner scene where he calls him a bastard.
A crazy bastard.
Crazy bastard.
It's and so tense.
He goes, "I think this human flesh is making me crazy."
Yeah.
And it's just like you see how scared he is of Kyung Chul. Like, he is just mortified and just terrified of this man.
Well, and it's these 2 fucking crazy bastards that who knows the lengths they're willing to go to kill each other.
Right. And just the smallest insult will literally get these people to kill you.
Well, yeah, and it's the thing where they do a very good job of like, he's obviously this deranged serial killer that's probably bigger than life, but you can see serial killer tendencies, where like anytime they kill a woman, they're like yelling at the woman, because that's what serial killers do. They make it the woman's fault. Yep. So it's never their fault. It's something in their head saying like they're better than them.
And you are absolutely right on that. You hit the nail on the head there, man, because that nurse scene too, when he's leaning over, it is so uncomfortable, and you can just see how uncomfortable that actress is, the nurse.
Yes.
Because she just doesn't even want to look up and make eye contact, because he's like calling her things. He goes, "Oh, I bet you have a lot of boyfriends," and demeaning her.
Yeah, exactly.
For no reason.
It's total incel.
Exactly. But to justify his actions for what he's about to do, because he's so deranged and so crazy that by justifying it, he can justify the fact that he's going to go and sexually assault this woman and probably eventually murder her if, our hero didn't come in
and
and
again,
save her.
A little
Our
late.
hero. Yeah.
A little late. Unfortunately, the rape does occur.
It did. Yeah.
But he does get good revenge, and it's smart writing, because it does this like this give and take, to where it's like he'll get tortured, and then be like, now you're starting to think, oh my God, the cop's the bad guy. Then the serial killer would do something horrible, like,
and you're like, okay, he deserves it. Yeah.
like kidnapping the schoolgirl, marrying the schoolgirl and taking her to the greenhouse.
Yep.
to where he's gonna rape her, and then kill her. But that scene is fucking great. Where he's about to rape her, and then he whispers his name, and it's like on the wind.
Yep.
And he's like, what the fuck? And he looks back and no one's there. And then he slowly comes up to the door. He's like 30 yards away. It's a long run.
It is.
But it's such a good shot, man. Shooting in that greenhouse was so smart because there's so many cool angles you can do.
And the lights, too. When he flicks on the lights and you just see all the green.
Or when he
down
hits the
hall.
light with the knife or whatever, and they start to flicker and everything, too. Super
It
cool,
is
man.
cool.
It's a cool.
You know that was fun to shoot, too.
Yeah, and it's not like... It is an action film, which is weird because you never get action horror films.
It's very hard to blend those.
Yeah, you never get that, and that's what I kept thinking. Except unless like a slasher film, you can always.
Yeah,
but you never get like really good fight choreography in a horror film. But the fight choreography in this, when he comes in there and he does the elbow behind the guy, it's so. And he comes and then he gets it, and this is a guy the actor, you got to give him credit because this is a guy that I feel like he would hit you with 20 punches before you even knew the fight began.
Yeah.
He's throwing so many quick punches.
And it's believable, too, because this dude is sharp. Like,
Oh,
he's sharp. His
absolutely.
choreography, this guy must just work all the time with
It's
fight
Bruce. It's
choreography.
Bruce Lee-esque to where you could tell his speed and
His punches, too, and how
are
precise.
so accurate.
And the
Exactly.
kicks
That's what I
and-
was gonna say. Precision,
Very
everything.
precision, yeah.
Because when he comes in that greenhouse, the guy doesn't know what hit him.
No, he does.
He's just
understandable,
wailed on, and then he wakes up like
He's like, where the hell am I? And he
I
keeps
remember
calling him a
he goes,
crazy
who is
bastard.
that guy? He just thinks it's some random guy walking by, and he's like, I gotta fuck this guy. Because remember, he wakes up, he's got an envelope full of money.
He's like, this crazy son of a bitch.
It's so good, man. It's such good writing. And he's like, yeah. And he's just laughing. He's like, this guy is fucking nuts.
He's like, he's just like me.
I know. And but the tracker they puts in them too. So he's tracking him the entire time.
That is something that initially I was so frustrated about because I'm like, the whole time I'm like, how is he listening to everything that he says? This makes no sense. But then they explained it.
Which
and
I
was
don't know.
Oh, okay. I don't know the science behind it.
I don't know if
but-
a tracker would work like that
Would
in your
work like
stomach.
that,
You
yeah.
probably get pretty muffled sound.
But at least they showed you what it was because I thought they just weren't going to answer that and he could just listen to him at all times. I was getting irritated. And then they showed it and I was like, okay.
and he put a
that's
tracker
believable.
on the taxi.
And the taxi too, yep.
So the writing was very strong and very good
Yes,
for this,
very
where they
strong.
knew they were like protecting themselves at all, because that could be an easy thing to flub up to get wrong. Because because he had to hear him constantly the entire time.
And just to be lazy on it and just not explain it at all, but they took the time to explain it.
And they took the time of the serial killer figuring it out and going through the shit, which was fucking
well, and I love that scene
disgusting.
too because they just barely showed you that he was awake because his mouth was open as if he was out. And he goes, oh, he'll be out for another day. And then you see him slowly close his mouth, and that's it.
Because he's like fucking Hannibal Lecter.
He is. Yeah, he's like a superhuman serial killer.
Yeah, and once he figures it out, you immediately know, oh, fuck, this is bad. Because he immediately goes to the dad's house.
No, he goes to the pharmacy
The
first.
pharmacy first.
Yeah.
And then he's covered head to toe in blood. Yeah, and then he tells him that the pharmacy, he goes, you got like 5 minutes with this
to
guy.
save
But
this
this
guy.
guy's
This guy's dead.
He's bleeding.
He got knifed in the neck. It's not good for him. And then he goes to the bathroom. That taxi driver comes in, and because he just had diarrhea. Diarrhea's order how to shit out that tracker. And then he beats the piss out of this dude in the bathroom. Felt bad for this. This guy was just
random
trying
guy.
to take a shit, man. You could tell.
Well, he
He's that
did. He
poop.
probably accomplished that.
He did.
He just did not where he wanted to go.
No.
Yeah, that poor bastard.
And I love it. Good dialogue again because when he hits him the first time, he goes, "What the hell? What the fuck are you doing?"
Yeah.
like he was just in complete panic. I mean,
Well,
just a
that's-
random guy.
Exactly. That's what this film did so good. It made all the killings just feel completely random. Not like they were scripted or anything, but just
Or
completely
like planned
random.
out, like he's like a mastermind, always planning the ultimate kill. No,
Yeah, and he's a
guy
guy
was-
that once he's let it, and again, the cop is just as bad as the guy because he lets the serial killer off the chain.
he does. Yep.
Before then, this guy was restricted. He had to be somewhat hidden about it.
Mm-hmm.
Once he knows this guy's after him, he just goes on a rampage. In the pharmacy scene, he's just randomly going through the medicine, and the guy's like, "What the? You can't go in here and do that." And he just fucking turns around, and stabs the guy. But yeah, it just seems again, a good writing because it made it's so much worse because once this guy is just fucking can go around and randomly kill anyone, there's nothing he can do.
No.
Nothing you can do to stop him either. They try to. At one point, he's going to turn himself in. Remember, it's a grand plan. He was going to kill all these people, and then he was going to turn himself in.
So the cop couldn't
do
so
anything.
the agent couldn't kill him. So
you don't know you're
the ultimate
fucking
way to get back to someone.
Yeah.
That's how sadistic this dude was.
Oh yeah,
It's like on a whole nother level, man.
that's why he's such a good bad guy because he was willing to go to the prison for the rest of his life just so this guy
get the.
But the guy says at one point, you don't know what pain is or whatever because we don't know what this serial killer's gone through.
No,
But he did not know he was up against the Korean James Bond.
Yeah, no shit.
Because that guy comes flying around that car. And all the cops are like, I love when the cops see it from like they see the car cruising and then they immediately go, oh, fuck, and they all start running.
Oh, gosh.
But a great ending, too, to a brutal movie.
Yes, it was.
It was.
And poetic in the
sense
best
that
way.
you could tell it took a huge toll on the guy to where it wasn't like, most films where they get the revenge and like, all right, we're good now. It's still, the guy still had to deal with the pain of losing.
Not just his fiance, not just his unborn child, but also her father, her sister,
yeah.
And the way that he mutilated the sister.
And most likely the cop will go to jail now.
Yeah, of course.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, he's going to
caused
jail.
so much havoc and
so much unnecessary death.
Yeah.
He's going away for life.
Absolutely. So it's like it was a crushing ending, but such a satisfying. I talk about it all the time that the death has to equal the guy.
Yeah, of course.
It can't be like you can't have this super fucking evil guy and then he gets shot in the heart and it's just you got to have that Die Hard. You got to have him falling from the fucking Takanoran Tower. Yeah. So him being decapitated by the same thing that decapitated was
all of his victims,
and then with his family there too, and
that's so fun.
And then for him to like,
mom and dad and his son were, and
why
they're like,
are the
door
old people
stuck.
here?
And he's like, yeah,
don't do that door.
Don't
it's
open the
such
door.
a good and then for also to show how human the cop is because that's sick. That's fucking demented.
It is.
That's not a revenge thing at that point. Because the guy isn't, his head's off. He's not getting anything out of that.
Nope.
Now he's just fucking with the family.
Mm-hmm. But
the son already hated the dad.
Yeah, he did. He wasn't a fan of it. And I don't even think the kid flinched. He was like, oh, that's my dad. No,
yeah.
I'm just kidding. No, the kid
But
was
I loved how the guillotine fell and how it wasn't like, I just love the aesthetic of it.
They showed it too.
And it wasn't a clean, like it fell and it kind of broke apart when it fell. I like how it wasn't just a clean guillotine. I don't know if that's just a small detail, but it's a small detail that I like. Yeah, exactly.
But I know we just talked about the ending, but I have to talk about this because it was freaking hilarious, right? I told you Mary couldn't get past like the first 10 minutes. She comes back to peek, and I kid you not.
Is the film over? It's the worst part.
Well, she was just wanting to watch a little bit of it with me again. She was trying to give it a second chance.
You don't learn, Mary.
As soon as she got back, it was the Achilles tendon scene where he goes and cuts the guy's Achilles tendon, and I was like, we're all like grimacing.
It's such a good scene, dude.
Oh,
it looks so real.
It's so brutal.
It looks so real. And we talked about it before, but he does it in a very odd way, in the most painful way possible, where he stabs it first and then cuts out.
Ugh. God, but it's more.
But all the torture
dare I
scene.
say aesthetically pleasing when to cut out.
Oh, I
then you
agree.
saw all the tendons and everything. Whereas if you cut in, it would look a lot different on
And
camera.
I love when he turns to the nurse. He goes, "Stay here. He's gonna need help after this." And she's like, "This is the craziest day of my life. I just got raped for one. Now the guy that raped me, you want to be saved? Just kill him."
Let me just stick scissors in his neck.
Yeah, exactly. But all those scenes, man, when he sticks at the very end, when he sticks like the metal pipe through his cheek,
jaw,
and then he takes it out. But every time he talks, blood is pouring from his mouth. It's such great continuity.
Yes.
Too.
Very good continuity, but again, I'm going to go back to the dialogue. That scene was the most pivotal moment because it showed you the real sociopath that this guy was, where he pretended he was, "Oh, please let me live, and then he just turns.
Yeah,
he realizes that no matter what,
he's not going to. Yeah,
he goes, "You really think I have emotions? You think I have feelings?
Yeah,
I'm not that kind of person."
And he goes, "You think I could feel pain?" He goes, "You don't even know what pain." Yeah,
yeah. And dude,
but he could feel pain.
It's like shivering, like creepiness.
Yeah. Again, it's that Fox thing where it's like he'd kill you and he'd tell you anything. He'd kill anyone and tell you anything to get away and just to keep killing.
Yeah.
Such a good serial killer, such a smartly written role.
I totally agree.
That, again, we talked about it's a heavy role, but a role that I'm sure an actor just would love to tackle.
Oh, of course.
To love to step in and play.
This is like a dream role.
Because you never get to be this person.
No, of course
unless you're actually killing
Unless
people.
you're actually killing people.
Yeah, but you never get to be this guy. So that's what makes me envious of actors, for them to be able to play this. We're never going to be able to play this unless I finally do snap and I actually do start killing people. But yeah, it's a cool, scary role that he just fucking killed.
He knocks it out of the park, man. He did such both these two did just such a phenomenal job.
Yeah, I love this film, and I would recommend it. I was telling you, I'd recommend it. Obviously not to my mom.
No, of course.
I mean, but I'd recommend it to anyone that I felt liked this kind of film. Yeah. I'd recommend it to them.
Oh,
if anyone that likes a horror or a thriller, I'd say please watch this movie. It's so good.
It's
but not for everyone.
Right, not for everyone. But anyone who likes this type of genre, this is literally the top of my list. Where I'm like, hey, you have. Oh my god, you like
anything
this sort
gritty,
of film?
any kind of thriller. Mm-hmm. If you liked fucking Silence of the Lambs, you'll like this. Exactly. It's the top of my list. Whenever I'm gonna meet people that say they like this kind of thing, I'm gonna go, oh, you gotta watch I Saw the Devil.
Exactly.
Because you will fucking love this film. Again, maybe we should not have started with this film because it's the highest bar.
I know. We were just the whole day in the studio. We're just talking about how we couldn't wait.
I just
to
love
talk
this film.
about this film.
And it doesn't have the greatest reviews. I mean, it's 81%, which is very good.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
But there's just something. This film just hits all the marks for me. It's just one of those rare films that I just loved. Even though my take where it does dip down a little at the end, where it feels like they just don't know how to end it. But it sets such a high bar for that energy level that.
And I think what makes it different is you are right. It did have a little lull in it, but the ending was so satisfying that little aspect means nothing because the ending was so perfect.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just the way you want to see it.
If it didn't end like that, the complaint would have even been bigger. Like, man, that it really failed. But the ending is so
satisfying.
Good. It's very satisfying. Yeah, it's exactly what you want out of a good guy, bad guy death.
Yeah.
You want that good last dialogue, that one last bad guy speech where he tries to convince you, and then the quick end.
And a good thing, too, is we didn't get a bunch of those speeches throughout where it became monotonous. We did it right at the end where it mattered most.
Yeah, absolutely. And it wasn't like this thing where it was like he was kidnapping it and then like setting up like riddles and like saw like a puzzle or anything like that. Yeah. He would just kidnap him, beat the shit out of him, let him go, and then just keep doing that.
Do it again.
Simple process.
And the way his
simple.
friend...
And it wasn't like games he was playing with him. He wasn't playing any games.
No.
He just let you go, and then he would just torture you because you never know when he's coming.
Mm-hmm. And I loved his friend at the dinner table explaining that to him, and him having that self-discovery of, oh, he is doing that. He likes hunting his prey.
He's doing what you're doing.
Yeah,
exactly. But yeah, they're serial killers, so they have no idea. They never think that they would be in that position. That's what gives a serial killer their power. But yeah, I loved it.
I loved it too, man. This movie's awesome.
And I would not, if I was going to commit a crime, I wouldn't do it in Korea, because if you got cops like that, they're going to find you.
They will.
And
they will find you.
They're not going to arrest you.
Yeah.
They're going to arrest you, let you go, and then keep arresting you till you just go insane.
Right.
You go absolutely nuts.
Give you money. You're like, what's going on here?
You want me to commit more? Just arrest me already. I just want to go to jail.
I just want 3 meals a day.
Yeah, I love it.
All right. Well, that is our review for I Saw the Devil. If you guys like what you're seeing here and you're watching on YouTube, be sure to like this video, comment below, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell notification as we drop videos here every single day. If you're listening in audio format, Spotify, iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Play, and Stitcher is where you can find our podcast. Social media pages, Twitter, Seen It Podcast. Cash is on Twitter, that's just Cash. Instagram, Have You Seen It? Facebook, Have You Seen It Podcast. Thank you so much for watching and listening. My name is Mason Knight. That is Cash Kraus. And until next time.
Bye.